Hello students, welcome to Ekam IAS Academy. Today in this session, I'll talk about a recent dispute between the Supreme Court of India and the Government of India on an issue related to Election Commission and the appointment of certain election commissioners into the office of the Constitutional Office of the Election Commission. Okay, see what happened is, recently you would have heard, if you're following the news, that the Supreme Court had asked the government to within a 24 hours to produce the file of appointment of the former IAS officer Mr. Arun Goyal as the Election Commissioner of India. What is Supreme Court trying to tell? What the Supreme Court is saying is, the court is asking the government how it had appointed Mr. Goyal as the Election Commissioner when an application questioning the prolonged vacancy and already pending is basically pending before the Supreme Court Constitutional Bench. See, what has happened is, there has been a gap between the vacancy of the Election Commissioner's office and the appointments of the Election Commissioner. So, there is a particular case which is going on in the Supreme Court of India Constitutional Bench, where the Supreme Court is trying to see why there is so much of prolonged vacancy in the office of the Election Commissioner. So, in this backdrop, when the government has appointed Mr. Arun Goyal as the Election Commissioner, Supreme Court is questioning the authority of the government in the appointment when the case is pending in front of the High Court. Okay? See, the Supreme Court is looking at the manner in which you are appointing the election commissioners. See, very important word that we should not miss here is, what the Supreme Court is harping upon is the manner in which the government is appointing the what you call the election commissioner, and whether the manner of appointment can put in a person who can act independently in his post or not. Whether the manner of appointment is giving that scope of independence in the functioning of that particular office or not is what Supreme Court is asking the government. Why? And one more important question the Supreme Court has raised in this particular issue is, why the center is only considering bureaucrats to be appointed as the election commissioners. This is a very important question that the Supreme Court is asking the government of India. So let's get into the topic. Now, but before we get into the topic, one important announcement. If you happen to appear in the UPSC Prelims 2023 examination, there is a big announcement. We are going for a comprehensive Prelims test series for 2023. This Prelims test series is a combination of around 20 full length tests that would be conducted in the offline and online mode, and you will also get the explanation session for all these 20 tests along with 5 grand tests. If you've been struggling with UPSC in couple of attempts now, it is highly recommended that you join this comprehensive test series program. The costing of the program has also been kept very low with an intention to extend it as a hand-holding initiative and not anything else. Okay, so with this we continue with our topic. See, before we venture into the topic proper, we'll try to understand what is actually the Election Commission. As you would know, Election Commission is one of the constitutionally what you call instituted autonomous body in India. What is the responsibility of the Election Commission? The Election Commission is responsible to administer elections to the office of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, state legislative assemblies and the offices of President and Vice President. This is the responsibility of Election Commission. The Lok Sabha, the Rajya Sabha, the state legislative assemblies, and also election to the offices of President and the Vice President. And one more important issue that you need to understand, that it is not concerned with the elections to the panchayats and municipalities in the state. Very important dimension. Do not commit a mistake in prelims. The Election Commission is not responsible for conducting the elections to panchayat and municipalities. And for this purpose, for the conduct of these elections, the Constitution under Article 324 mandates the appointment of Election Commission. As I told you, in part 15, Article 324 to 329, the Indian Constitution, it talks about the election and establishes a commission for these matters related to elections in India. And Article 324, it says that the superintendent's direction and the control of elections would be vested in the hands of the Election Commission. And Article 329, very important, which is the matter of dispute in front of the Supreme Court now. Article 329, it very clearly says that it puts a bar to interfere by the courts in the electoral matters. And this is one of the most important stands which the government has taken in this particular issue, when it is asking the Supreme Court to stay away from the domain of appointment of various persons to Election Commission. As we have seen in the previous slide, where Supreme Court has talked about two dimensions. One, the pending. Two, when it was pending and the case was present in the Supreme Court, why did you appoint? And third, why are you appointing only the Supreme Court, only the bureaucrats as the election commissioners? And more importantly, one more dimension which the Supreme Court has asked is, when the Constitution is talking about 6 years term for the Chief Election Commissioner, why it is so happening that people are relinquishing their office in less than 300 days? It means that you are not allowing this office to function independently. So this is a very important accusation what the Supreme Court is putting on the government of India. What is the center stand? What is the center saying? The center is said, it has taken defense by saying that ever since the independence of this country, the Election Commission of India has worked perfectly fine in all these years. So what the government is trying to tell the Supreme Court is, because this institution has been perfectly functioning, perfectly fine in its functioning, there is no need to question on the manner in which the appointments are happening. Please do not question the manner. But what the Supreme Court is saying is, Article 324 subsection 5. Article 324 subsection 5, what the Supreme Court is saying is, this section says that you need to bring in a law as related to appointing the election commissioners. Why are you not bringing a law is the question of the Supreme Court to the government of India. And what the government is saying, elections are being held on time and there was no need to question the system of appointment to this particular offices. And the court should only intervene, very important, the court should only intervene if a challenge has been raised against any specific appointment of election commission in the court. If the challenge has not been raised, the Supreme Court has no stand to interfere in this particular entire process. The center is reiterating what the government is saying, the independence of the executive. Here it is talking about the independence of the executive in appointing these election commissioners was as sacrosanct as the independence of the judiciary itself. So when you are talking about the independence of judiciary, you also have to respect the independence of the executive, which lies in the appointment of these election commissioners. So these are some of the constitutional provisions related to this. As I told you earlier, Article 324 subsection 5, it talks about the appointment of election commissioners. It envisages the enactment of a law to provide for the procedure for such appointments, but the government has not done this yet. What the Supreme Court is saying, I am not questioning whom you are appointing, I am questioning the manner in which you are appointing. It is arbitrary in nature. What is the procedure that you are following in appointing these members is what the Supreme Court is questioning the government. And the second dimension, as I told you earlier also, is that what the Supreme Court said that earlier over 8 years period was there when the chief election commissioners were serving for this particular duration, but however since 2004 this duration has drastically come down, and in many cases it has been observed that less than 300 days the chief election commissioners are retiring. So what is it? Are you allowing them to function independently or not? So we'll have to wait and watch how the government responds to this directive given by the Supreme Court to give an explanation in writing within 24 hours of time. So this is one important issue we thought we'll bring it to your notice. For many issues like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to our Telegram channel for daily current updates on various issues which are important for various competitive examinations like UPSC and other state competitive examinations. Thank you.